Hello. All right, I think we got it figured out. So, welcome to episode 12 of the Together Achieving Greatness show, brought to you by Tag Performance and Nutrition. And we are coming to you live here on a beautiful snowy Sunday here in Wisconsin. I guess it's not technically snowing today, but got a little snowfall over the weekend after about a foot or so last week. And then crazy weather was like 50 degrees, I think like Thursday, and all the snow melted, and then got a little bit more here. So you never know what to expect here in Wisconsin when it comes to the winter, December, these crazy months. We get some weird weather up here, but yeah. So again, episode 12 of the Together Achieving Greatness show coming at you. I'm your host, Trevor Gutting, owner, lead coach at Tag Performance and Nutrition. But before we get into today's episode, I want you to make sure you are subscribed. So click the little bell icon, subscribe to my channel, make sure you are up to date on everything that is Tag Performance and Nutrition and the Together Achieving Greatness show. Also, if you do like my videos, make sure you like. It just helps out, so can help make more people aware. Get the word out, spread the word, and help people learn, grow, and ultimately unlock and achieve greatness within their lives through training, through nutrition, through sleep, through stress management, all these different aspects that play a huge role in your life and how you are able to live your life to the best, become the best version of yourself, and ultimately unleash greatness in your life at whatever it is you do or want to do or whatever goals you have. So that's ultimately why I'm here. Excuse me. And ultimately to help as many people as possible. And when it comes to people I help, a lot of people I help are former athletes. And one of my things with my coaching, my training, is training like an athlete for life and being an athlete for life. And I've had a few other videos on this. And today I want to get into the best exercises for training like an athlete and being an athlete for life. I think this is going to be a fun episode getting into some of the different exercises. Got this crazy little mustache thing going on. Kind of like a, it's bugging me. Kind of like the Raleigh fingers, but unintentionally. Whatever. Who cares? It's just a mustache with some crazy wild hair going, not wanting to come down. But But other than that, back to the topic at hand. Best exercises to train like an athlete for life. So when it comes to exercises, and I don't really like to call them exercises. That's more kind of a, to be honest, just a clickbait type thing to get people to click on those exercises. I like to, and not just worry about exercises, but more so movement and movement patterns. And there are tons of different exercises within each movement pattern that you can use and ultimately will be beneficial to different people. So, to get started, let's kind of break down the movement patterns that Train Like an Athlete in my programming involves. So, we got our squat pattern, you got the hip hinge pattern, you got a push pattern, upper body push, so that's a horizontal and a vertical. You got the pull patterns, so same thing, upper body pull. So horizontal and vertical. And you got the single leg or lunge pattern, which is lunges, split squats, things like that. And we got locomotion, so sprinting. And then we got rotation. So we got 7 different patterns there that are movement patterns we like to work within, and all of them have their role, their different exercises, and should be utilized in some form or fashion within your training if you are training like an athlete, which I believe again is the best way to train. So let's kind of get into each movement pattern and some of my favorite exercises that are in each of those that can help you. And ultimately, I guess, but before we do that, I want to let you know that just because um these movement patterns, there's like I said, there's so many different exercises and exercise variations within them. It's all about finding what variations work best for you, for your body, and ultimately help you progress the most. Because that's like there's no one exercise that fits everyone. Not everyone needs the back squat with a straight bar or bench press with a straight bar or anything like that. There's different variations. Maybe some variation causes you pain, or previous injury doesn't allow you to do that, or whatever it may be, or you're just inexperienced. There's different variations, different. Some people call them progressions and regressions. I just like to call them different variations. Doesn't put like the negative tone on it if you have regressions or whatnot. But finding what works best for you, and ultimately the exercises you use should help you feel better, not cause pain. They should help you make progress. You should be able to progress as you go forward. They should lead you towards your goals. They should be able to progressively overload, whether that's weight, whether that's better form, doing more reps, whatever it may be. There's different ways to progressively overload that. But each variation should fit you. It should fit your body structure, your style. And again, not cause pain, because ultimately, if you're doing something that's causing pain, why? It's going to just lead to more injury. Again, more pain. You're not going to be able to progress because you're going to get hurt, and then you're going to have to take time off, so you're not going to be able to progress. So find those variations within these exercise or these movement patterns that work best for you. Again, I'll give you some of my favorites, some different variations that might work for you. But ultimately, you might try out these variations and say, this doesn't feel right, and then you might switch it out for another variation, and that feels great, and you're able to progress it and use it and feel good and move better. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we ultimately want. If we can get stronger, get faster, build more muscle, and feel better, move better, it doesn't really matter what variation you're doing as long as it's working for you and allowing you to move forward and make progress. That's ultimately what we want. Who cares if it's a barbell back squat or a goblet squat? It doesn't really matter as long as it's helping you and progressing you forward. You don't have to, unless you're like a power lifter or anything like that, you don't have to do those big barbell straight bar, the big three lifts, so squat, deadlift, and bench press. So, but get into each movement pattern here and give you some of my favorite exercises, and then let you get on your way. So, let's start with a squat. So the bilateral squat. So 2 legs on the ground, squatting. So you got your barbell back. I'm not a big barbell back squat fan. I used to do it all the time, but then you get older, your back starts to kind of get achy and pain, putting all that load on your back. Shoulders can get messed up, especially when I'm a baseball player, so throwing and stuff like that. My shoulder's in that external rotation enough as it is. So when it comes to squatting, barbell back squat, not a big fan of that. For myself personally, maybe you are, and that's great. You do it if it works for you, like I said. But I'm not I don't do it a ton anymore. I'll sprinkle it in every once in a while just to see, kind of test my squat ability and how much I can squat and whatnot. But again, my favorite for majority of people, some better variations. I like a safety bar squat. So it's a specialty bar. If you have one, I have access to it. It's great. It puts your hands out in front, your shoulders out in front, so you're not back here. You're got the little handles right here. It's padded. It just allows for, I think it works more core and just allows still to load heavy and progressively overload, but not put as much pressure on your back or your shoulders. So I like a safety bar squat. The safety bar, I'll get into that more in other exercises too, because it's one of my favorite bars. Because it loads a little bit different. You'll feel it. But safety bar back squat, that's one of my favorites. Another machine that I like is a belt squat machine. Whereas like the safety bar squat or a regular barbell back squat, that compresses your spine because you're putting the load on your back. The belt squat does not put load on your back. You put a belt around your waist attached to the machine, and again, you can load up super heavy, go for reps, get stronger, build muscle, but it doesn't put any pressure on your low back. It gets kind of, depending on the model you have, I have a belt of steel belt squat, So it can take some time getting used to wearing a belt because the belt kind of pulls, can kind of bother the hips a little bit. But once you get used to it, I find it is a great variation. So safety bar squat, safety bar back squat, belt squat machine, two of my favorite squatting variations. Again, because they allow you to progressively overload. You can go heavy, but you can also work on power with them. You can do dynamic effort, use bands, use chains, different things like that. So going lighter, lifting lighter weights, and exploding and being focusing on speed and power. So those are two variations. Also, I like front squats. I'm a big front squat uh, fan. I'm not in front squat again. Has to be you have to be able to do it. Get your arms in this position or like this. You can even do it with a safety bar. It's different. It's hard to describe how to do that without having the bar in front of me. But front squats, safety bar squats, and belt squats are three great variations. And then the good go-to, always a great variation that I love for pretty much anyone, just even just starting out, is a goblet squat. A goblet squat with a dumbbell, a kettlebell, just a great variation. You can just you can go heavy as much. And the only problem with the goblet squat is it's kind of the load is based on how much your arms can hold a lot of the times, just in this position, because and how big of dumbbells you got. Sounds kind of weird, big dumbbells, but so goblet squats are great, a great variation, especially if you're learning them. Use them a lot with beginners training. And that way, master that squat pattern before we get into any of the heavier barbell lifting. So goblet squats, safety bar squats, belt squat, front squat, and I guess a final one that I love, I've started using more this year, is a Zercher squat. So you put a barbell in the pit of your arms or the pit of your elbow and kind of hold like that. And you can check out videos on it. I have videos on it. But a Zercher squat is another variation that I love. It's kind of like if you're holding like a child or something in front of you, or a medicine ball, and you can squat like that. But the Zercher squat. So those are five great squat variations that I love for being like an athlete and training like an athlete, because again, you can load them pretty heavy. You can do them for higher reps if you're doing that, or you can do them for speed and power as well. So those are variations that I love for the squat. Now to the hinge, the hip hinge. Again, I'm not a big straight bar barbell back squat or barbell deadlift from the floor, but I am. I like if I do it, I raise it up, elevate it. But my favorite by far hinge pattern is a trap bar deadlift, trap bar Romanian deadlifts. So again, get the bar on the floor with a trap bar. You can use the elevated handles or the higher handles or the lower ones. I got a Kabuki strength, Kabuki, what is their bar now? Kabuki trap bar. It's great. It's awesome. It's open. So I can use it for other things besides just deadlifts. But trap bar deadlift, probably my number one. Puts you in a little bit more generous position, not so much pressure on your back as a regular deadlift is. And besides, most people, over 90% of people, are not made to deadlift from the floor with a straight bar anyway. So again, you can elevate that. You can adjust it to make sure it fits your body, your style, your experience level. Trap bar deadlifts, number one. I also love sumo stance deadlifts. Again, I use a straight bar, but elevate it a little bit on some bumper plates or regular plates or blocks or whatever you have, just to not put as much pressure because mobility issues and things like that, or even like a hybrid stance. But also RDLs, Romanian deadlifts with dumbbells, with a trap bar, with a regular barbell are awesome for hinging, building some hamstrings, bulletproofing that backside, and just getting a big strong hamstring, big strong butt. So that's a big hinge. I guess we in the hinge we could throw in as well hip thrusts. So again, get a barbell, get your upper back on a bench, plant the feet in the ground, drive those hips up towards the ceiling, load that sucker up heavy. You can do it for speed too, I guess. But yeah, just hip hinging that way, boom, hips, hip thrust, barbell hip thrusts are great. Trying to think other hip hinging. Oh, single leg RDLs. So I guess we could throw that in here because it's not really the splits, the lunge very movement pattern. So yeah, one very difficult movement for people to learn because a lot of people get off balance. So you can do a hand supported RDL or um, variation. I have a video on it on my YouTube here of planting a back leg against a wall or a support beam on a rack and just push through the wall that way to give yourself a little bit more support and stability. Whereas when people go down on a single leg RDL, a lot of times they're rotating their hips too much or they're falling and they don't have the balance or stability. So those are some great hip hinge variations that I love. So then we'll move into our upper body push. So pushing, we will go. Uh, so I just kind of days off there. But pushing upper body push. So we'll go horizontal first. On number one, probably push-ups. I love push-ups, all different variations. There's a bazillion different variations. You can do regular push-ups. If you can't do push-ups, elevate your hands rather than go on your knees because that just takes a lot of the core activity out. Just going on your knees. So push-ups, all different variations. You can do med ball, squeeze push-ups. You can do weighted push-ups. You can do push-ups on rings. There's so many different variations of push-ups, but push-ups allow your shoulder blades to move freely, whereas like a bench press, you're taught to lock your shoulder blades down and back. And a lot of times people do that too much and they just get stuck in that position where push-ups allow your shoulder blades to move freely like they're supposed to on your rib cage. So push-ups, again, I love dumbbell bench pressing. Again, it works on the stability, whereas one arm might be stronger in a bench press. You can kind of muscle your way up, but a dumbbell bench pressing is going to work on each arm individually and let you know which arm might have is weaker or any imbalances between the two arms. So dumbbell bench pressing, you can put it at a slight incline, a slight decline, flat. Again, tons of different variations, but dumbbell. And then when it comes to barbell, I don't use a straight bar much anymore, but I like a neutral grip bar. So I hear called a football bar. So your hands are either at an angle on the bar, or the one I have has different grips where your hands are in a neutral grip or palms are facing each other. So it's a barbell, same thing, but it puts your in a more shoulder friendly variation bar, specialty bar that way. So we got push-ups, dumbbell bench press, and neutral grip. Those would be, and then we could throw in, because train like an athlete, pressing, we could do med balls. So med balls are huge if you want to train like an athlete. I love med balls. Probably my over the last year just incorporated them in within every upper body session or if a full body session too. Med ball, so pressing. So you could do a chest pass, a good chest pass. So a kneeling chest pass where you fall into a push up and catch yourself is a great one. That I do that a lot. Or a lot of rotational, kind of a shot put throw. So you start like this, boom, press through, shot put throw. That's another great variation I love for upper body pressing, horizontal pressing. So those are the variations of that. Then we get into vertical pressing. So overhead. So not a huge on overhead. I don't do a ton of it, but yeah, dumbbell, neutral grip overhead. I like half kneeling. Half kneeling, good way to start. Single arm. And you can even use a kettle. So dumbbell or kettlebell. You can use the kettlebell. So the bell part is like around here, or you can do bottoms up where you're kind of balancing and working on more stability. So that's another one. So neutral grip, dumbbell overhead pressing, you can just standing, seated. I love those. Those are great. But yeah, I mean, I don't do a ton of overhead pressing just because I'm an overhead athlete anyway. I've done, but when I do, it's usually a dumbbell neutral grip. So that would probably be my favorite variations. Find what works for you. These are just my favorites for training like an athlete. And again, I guess then we go back into the med balls. So yeah, overhead, a vertical med ball throw. So you got the med ball starting in your chest, and this is a good full body too because you're using your legs as well, but just driving that up and working some scapular shoulder blade upward rotation as well, which is awesome, and especially for overhead athletes. If you're still playing ball, you're still throwing volleyball. Shout out to the women, Wisconsin women's basketball national champions last night, which was awesome to watch. But again, overhead med ball, just vertical throw. So throw it up, get out of the way so it doesn't come down and crush you on the head. So those are some vertical pressing movements, pushing movements. So pulling thing people do not do enough of. We're all pressing and we're always in front of us in daily life. So we need to pull or row horizontally and vertically. When it comes to horizontal, so you got your TRX rows, like an inverted row. I like to use TRX or rings. I have a couple like Olympic, not Olympic, I guess Olympic, like gymnast rings that I use so I can rotate as I go. So inverted rows are awesome. You can do those body weight. You can add some weight with chains or plates, putting those on your stomach or chest. I love those. I like prone dumbbell rows. So you incline a bench, lay face down on it, takes any pressure off your low back. So you're where like a bent over row, your low back can tire out, and that's gonna allow you to not have good form or get injured or something like that, and not do as much weight. Prone rows, take that out, boom, chest, back, row up. Great variation. One of my favorites. Do a lot of different with dumbbells. You can do one arm, you can do single arms, you could do both arms at the same time, alternate, iso holds, eccentrics. So there's so much different things you can do that way. So prone dumbbell rows. Other rowing I like, even just a seated row. I don't have a machine here, but seated rows are great on a cable machine. Let's see, what other kinds of rows do I? Oh, just a single arm row. You put it. You can do the knee up variation, knee on a bench variation with the hand pressed in, row up, or you can just do the hand kind of a tripod or staggered stance. Those are variations I use all the time. Single arm and then the prone dumbbell rows. And then when it comes to what people don't think of is your upper back, a lot of pump work, band pull aparts, all the time doing those because again we are so forwardly dominant. We're always on our computers, on our phones, playing video games, whatever you do. Band pull aparts, band face pulls, prone dumbbell flies, rear delt flies, just to hit that upper back and hammer that upper back and make sure we're doing that. Helps your posture, so you're not looking like Quasimodo, and just has you feeling good. So you're not. It's gonna have healthy. It's gonna help healthy shoulders, all these different things. Healthy upper back. Again, better posture. So make sure you're hitting upper back. Things like band pull aparts, face pulls, rear delt flies are great. When it comes to vertical pulling, chin ups and neutral grip chin ups are my favorite. You can load those up heavy. I mean, once you get down the form, you can do them. If you're just starting out, work on negative eccentrics. So going slow on the way down. So you pull up, you jump up, and just 1, 2, 3, and then just fall to the ground, and again jump up again. 1, 2, 3. So those are good variations. So chin ups, pull ups are great if you can do them. Neutral grip chin ups are great. Again, put your hands in this position if you got access to that, and do chin ups that way. So those are my favorite variations on that. Then lat pull downs. Even I like a dual handle lat pull down, so you get two handles, and you can kind of rotate them that way. So you're coming down, boom, lat pull downs. Again, you can do these things for strength, and you can do them for speed and power as well. So again, with all these things, athletes, again, you should be lifting heavy weights, lifting light weights fast, and then even throwing in some hypertrophy, some pump work to build that muscle. So there's different ways to lift, but all these you can do either or all of them and a combination of all of them. So then we'll move into the single leg variations or lunge variation. I love single leg. Most people do not do enough unilateral single leg work. We're all bilateral squatting when instead you should be doing a lot of lunging and reverse lunges and split squats because again these work on your um, now I just lost the word that imbalances between one leg or left, maybe your right leg dominant, so your left leg's really weak. You don't have any stability, balance on that leg, and this is going to help you. Doing single leg work is going to help you. So favorite ones again, go back to the safety bar. So safety bar split squats, you can go super heavy, hand supported. Safety bar split squats are awesome. I love those. Safety bar reverse lunges. So reverse lunging, any reverse lunging I love just because it's more knee friendly. Hits the hamstrings a little bit more if you're doing it right and you're really gripping in the ground and pulling on the way back up. So any reverse lunges with a safety bar, dumbbells, even a barbell. But so safety bar again with the split squat and the reverse lunge or dumbbells, um, or even safety bar Bulgarian split squats. So those are huge. Bulgarian split squats, just putting that back leg up a little bit more advanced. I love that. Probably my favorite lift over the last 3 or 4 years has become the Bulgarian split squat. Most people hate it because it's tough. It really challenges you, but it is awesome. Great for building strength, muscle, and you can even do it for power and speed as well. So Bulgarian split squats, probably my number one, probably my favorite exercise that is not named sprinting. Bulgarian split squats, I love those. Other single legs, have you got split squat? Step ups, step ups are good. Dumbbell step ups, I like. And then to get into our power moves, so even single leg split squat jumping, step up jump, so you step up, power up, explode up, jump off that. Just so many great single leg variations that you can do. Again, and these are just different exercises, but you can implement different tools. Like I said, safety bar, Bulgarian split squats, dumbbell Bulgarian split squats. I can use my trap bar and really load that thing up. Uh, Open trap bar split squats. So those are some of my favorite variations. Again, you can mix up tempos. You can do slow negative, slow eccentrics. You can do iso holds. You can do overcoming isometrics where you're moving the force into a immovable object. So like you have a barbell between your legs doing a split squat, lifting that up into the rack, which is not, if it's bolted down or heavy enough, you're not going to move it. Really get that isometric. So all these different single leg variations, reverse lunging, split squats, step ups, Bulgarian split squats. Throw in some walking lunges every once in a while. Not or forward lunge, not big on forward. I like reverse lunges better, but yeah, any lunging is going to help. So those are great. And then we move into our locomotion. So locomotion, walking. Uh-huh. Most people don't walk enough, move enough. And number one, my favorite exercise is sprinting. I love sprinting. Um, get out, sprint as your best of your ability. Work, obviously don't start out if you haven't sprinted in forever and just go 100%. Gradually work your way back into it. So sprinting, you got short sprints, you got top speed sprints where you're doing flies. So you build up for 10, 20 yards and sprint as hard at your fastest for 10 yards. Hill sprints are great. I love hill sprints. Get on the incline. It's not going to put as much stress on your hamstring because you're not doing a full leg extension and you're working on driving and accelerating up that hill. Same thing would go for sled sprints. So you get a sled or weighted sprints behind you. Like I use a tire, put a weight in there, chain it up, put a belt around my waist, sprint that way again, work on acceleration and driving forward. So sprinting, number one, my favorite exercise. And then walking, just doing that every day. You can do that every day if you're able to walk, physically able. So those would be my locomotion. And then even the locomotion, you can throw in some farmer's carry. So picking something heavy up, dumbbells, kettlebells, buckets of water, bags of groceries, and walking with them. Hold them by your side, one arm, single arm, waiters carries. There are so many different ways of farmers carries are huge. I love them, pushing them. And then you get into pushing sleds. Sled pushes are great. You can build strength, you can build power, work on your sprinting technique, build speed. So sleds and heavy ass sled drags as well. So I put those in. Those can be included in a single leg too. But again, the important thing is that you do them. It doesn't really matter where they fit in, but that you're doing them. So those would be locomotion, moving, running, sprinting. Again, and then get into rotation. Again, rotation can fit into different things. You can do pressing, you can do throwing. So this is where a lot of med ball work comes in. Side tosses, rotational throws, those shot puts. Again, rotation. You can do different core. These are great for your core because, again, throwing a heavy med ball, even lighter med balls, throwing different speed med balls, working on rotating and creating power and force that way. So, and then you got anti-rotation too. So because you want to throw in the core work, so rotation and anti-rotation. So things like Palloff presses, isometric hold where you hold the band out and it's trying to rotate you, but you're not letting it rotate. Are great. Max iso holds for those are awesome. I love those. Then we get into just other things that I didn't really mention is jumping. I didn't get into a ton of jumping. Jumping is huge if you're an athlete for life. Should always be including jumping. Different jumps. You got your more extensive jumps that are lower intensity, but they kind of build up some capacity and working up to more intensive jumping. So you got things like pogo jumps where you're barely getting off the ground, just kind of focusing on rapid contacts. And then you got more extensive things like vertical jumps, approach vertical jumps, box jumps, broad jumps if you're going horizontal rather than up. You can do all those one leg, two legs. Jumping, any form of jumping is going to be good, I think, as long as you're doing it right. Practicing dunking, that's a fun thing. I mean, if you can dunk, I mean, like last weekend I was subbing in gym, I was practicing trying to touch the rim, because I'm a short little guy with very crappy uh, jumping ability. Can get the rim a few times, but yeah, knees have been through 25 years of catching. That probably plays a role. Getting older, but yeah, still working on the building that power, and that's one of my life goals is to be able to dunk at 5'8", 160 pounds. I want to be able to dunk. So one day we're working on it, getting close to it. So that's a fun thing to do. Just staying athletic, trying to jump as high as you can. So jumping on things, jumping off things, depth jump. So jumping off like a high surface, to absorbing force into the ground there. So those are all different variations, different things I like to do when it comes to training like an athlete. Some of my favorite exercises and movement patterns to train like an athlete. And we're coming up on a little over a half hour here, it looks like. And again, I don't want to make these things too long because, like they say in basketball, people today have attention spans of nanoseconds. Um, so end it there with jumping. So make sure you're jumping, sprinting, all these exercises. And again, these are movement patterns. Find the variations within them that work best for you, that allow you to progress and allow you to train pain free and become the best version of yourself and always be an athlete and train like an athlete for life. That's what we want to do. And if you are ready to get programming, you need help, and you're just sick and tired of your wheels spinning, or you're just looking to get started and want the best training for yourself and a program that is designed for you, reach out, send me a DM, or click the link in the bio here, and you can apply for coaching, and we'll jump on a free discovery call. I'd love to chat with you, see what you're looking to do, and see if we're able to help you. So, again, Trevor Gutting here with Tag Performance and Nutrition. This was episode 12 of the Together Achieving Greatness show. Make sure you subscribe to my channel by clicking the little bell icon below, and we will be in touch. We'll see you next week for episode 13. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Go Pack Go.